Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back. We took a long little pause. I know, some stuff came up, and of course, it's always good to take just these little breaks and kind of just overview on the stuff that we're working on and that we want to definitely, I guess you could say, bring to you, lovely audience that have been listening to us since episode 1. But of course, as always, I'm Eduardo, and this is my boy Brett here with me in the virtual studio. And dude, I know that you just came off of kicking it with your daughter that was here from Montana,
Yeah.
and you've been busy, doing the whole family thing and all that. But let's start off with that. So, how did that go for you, man? Because I know you only have like certain times when she comes over and to the States and to hang with you. So, but how is that? Like, how's that with knowing that you obviously don't see her throughout the year? So, I
hmm
mean, how was it?
Yeah, it was actually one of those situations where, like it was good. It's good to get that time together. And I don't know, there it's sort of an emotional thing because, when she was three and a half, I moved to Washington because, I was there was a job. I was reading about jobs at a paper. There was a company that was hiring, thousands of people. I said, man, I want to see if I can get in on that, and at the time I was thinking, well, maybe if I make a bunch of money, then life will be easier.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but one thing that I've always seen is that whenever she comes to visit, the visits are never long enough. And
Mm,
we just, we've been going through some things. She's 12 now, she'll be 13 in May.
that's wild,
And
man.
so, she's at that age where girls are starting to, they're starting to grow. Their minds are changing there. And in that process from becoming a little girl to a teenager, there's a lot of things that start happening, like things that, when she was an innocent little girl, she would just take it as, oh, dad's over there. Now she looks at it in a different light, like, so one fear that I have is that she's going to carry resentment. And so that's
Mm,
sort of something that I am weighing on my mind, something that just it weighs with me. I mean, it's weighed with me for a few years. I mean, I've been talking for a while now about getting over to Montana just because, to me, as I get older, I'm like, shit, man, the money really doesn't mean anything to me if if I can't, you know, if I can't spend my time, if we're gonna miss our time together. So
yeah.
we're really, really, really weighing more seriously than we've ever have, about maybe just cutting ties a little bit in Montana. The reality of it though is I don't know if I go to Montana alone or if I go there a married man still. So we're
Oh,
still
really?
sorting that out. But we'll
So
figure it
real
out.
shit.
We'll figure it out.
Definitely, definitely. Well, overall, man, it seems like you guys had an awesome time while she was here and all that. And it's one of those things too. I can just imagine just with what you were saying about, it, from a standpoint of having, to only use that time that's available when she's over here, spend time with it. And like you said it best, like it really feels like it's not enough time.
Yeah.
Now you're wanting to damn, I really should really put my cards on the table and probably consider moving a little bit closer to spend more time with her. So
Mm-hmm.
I totally get what you're saying, bro. But overall, I'm happy that things went good and you got to do all that, and it's always good to see that too, bro. But listen, man. Aside from that last episode, I'll tell you what, Tip Ditch podcast listeners, I've been on a little. I fell into the Bigfoot hole, ever since that last episode. So again, shout out to Hector and Eric for coming through
That was
and
fun.
and doing that episode. Yes, it was really interesting. And like I said, overall, in the topic of just Bigfoot alone, I've heard about it before, right? But I never really took it serious because it never really made sense to me. Like, oh, there's something gigantic out there in the forest, stomping around. Yet we don't have evidence of it existing, right?
Yep.
But what's crazy is, the one thing that I've learned and just seen myself from this whole topic was, there's a lot of the BFRO, like you mentioned, it's a website where they actually keep journal of like all the encounters they've had, and it seems to me that Washington is one of the hot spots.
Yep.
And they actually mentioned the documentary Discovering Bigfoot by Todd Standing that's out there in Vancouver. I'll tell you what, man, after
Wow.
watching that and listening to just the stuff, like his evidence and just what he shows on his encounters, he made it simple. And this is as simple as you can get. And I love the way he put it. He's like, you look, for all the people that are skeptics, I cool. But if you really want to have a real encounter and really actually experience what I've experienced, come out with me. I'll take you on an expedition and I'll take you to these spots. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to go because I don't want to fucking run into something. I have no clue what the fuck is out there alone in the wilderness, in the mountains. And some of the stuff that he was just talking about, I'm like, I don't know, man. I gotta say that there's something out there. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not ready to say like, there's legitimately a Bigfoot out there, which possibly could be, right? But it's wild that, the more I start kind of opening my mind into like listening to everybody's encounters and just reading about all the stuff that they see out there, the tree knocks, the rock knocks, the whooping. It's wild, bro.
They talk about the kill box on these other documentaries?
Yes, they did. So one of the
kidding.
interesting things on Discovering Bigfoot, which is free, you can go check it out. And I'll remember that when this releases, on the description, I'll definitely link up the link to it. It's free.
Cool.
You can catch it on Amazon Prime, on YouTube. It's called Discovering Bigfoot by Todd Standing. They do talk about these tree-like structures. So one of the interesting things that he mentioned, actually, he took one of these I don't know what their title is, but they're people that go out there in the wilderness and they kind of study the plants and all this other stuff, like natural causes that, they talk about like what could have caused this, if it was natural cause or if it was man-made or something.
Sure.
This, right?
Sure.
And this guy was looking at him and he was just showing him like, look, this is all I found. These are how these trees are stacked. And one of the things he did, he said that kind of drew his attention was the fact that these trees were snapped in a way where something would have had to grab them, break them, and snap them and twist them around.
Nothing the wind can do.
The wind can do?
Nothing the wind can do, right?
They said like this wouldn't be caused by like say like a snowfall or snow avalanche, whatever. Like he showed examples of what caused like trees that were knocked down by the wind. So he was just going over like, if I could admit, this would be one solid piece of evidence that this is something that just wasn't caused by nature like that by itself. So it's like right then and there, he admitted like, yeah, this is something that's out of the norm.
Wow.
And it's a real interesting documentary, man. I honestly suggest people go watch it. Just take it for what it is. Go in there with an open mind, and just watch it. But overall, man, that's kind of what I've been doing on my spare time, just watching videos here and there. And it got me back into that zone of like, okay, well, let's see what's really going on. Like, since I've heard about it back in high school till now. So it's a lot of interesting stuff, man. And it really, I like digging into stuff like that and just really kind of just expanding the horizon on stuff that there's a lot of stuff that's, we don't really know what's going on. So, I mean, what'd you think about it, man? You told me, cause I mean, it was just a different kind of like, I guess we went a different route on that one. And like we said before, we don't want to be a one trick pony type deal. We want to venture off and do other different things as a podcast as a whole. So I figured that would be an awesome thing to do, so.
Yeah. What I thought about it though, to answer your question, was I felt like I learned some stuff. Yeah. Like it was I said, this is wild. This is wild. This is stuff that I would have never even thought of asking, with the tree structures, with everything bent, with everything that we learn.
Yep.
These are things that I would have never known. I mean, it made me question how much I really know about the world, about how much I really know is out there, and the fact that how much other people do know. I'm like, I felt like such a small speck in the whole picture. I was like, man, I need to learn more. But it was so much fun. It was so intriguing to hear their stories and to see their processes, and and even to joke about some of the way that they were doing things, like just a couple of hillbilly looking dudes going out in the woods with beer and whiskey, and it's like, it was so perfect in so many ways. But it was also cool because it was like, these guys really really care about what they're doing. They were respectful
Yeah.
about what it was doing. It wasn't, they weren't trying to be invasive or
Mhm.
intrusive. They were respectful, almost like it was another human culture that they
Yeah.
were talking about. And I really had a lot of admiration for that. And whether people want to believe it or not, for me, I've always been a skeptic when it comes to UFOs, when it comes to Bigfoot, when it comes to flat earth and all that stuff. But when I see people who are actually having skin in the game and are willing to, come out with this, and I'll let you in on this a little bit. Your boy might be going on a little bit of a Bigfoot excursion here in this summer, sometime this summer. Got
Nice.
invited, so
Oh, you got invited.
got invited. So
Oh,
we'll see. We'll see,
so
and again, I'm not fully like, I mean, I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying
yeah.
if I see this shit with my own eyes, I'm taking every photograph I can, and I am gonna just, I don't care if I have to sit on it. I don't care what I'm doing with it. But if I see this stuff, I'm gonna go nuts.
Oh man, even if I heard the whooping calls and the calls they make in general, I think that would really kind of cement things like, okay, there's really something going on out there, and we
Yeah.
don't know what the fuck it is. Even if I
Hmm.
didn't see like a picture or anything like that, I just think if you hear these sounds they make, it would be kind of mind blowing, and I would
Yeah.
be kind of afraid at that point. Like, yeah, I don't want to fuck with this thing that's what, like 8 feet tall, 1,000 pounds. No, thank you, I'm good.
No, no, I'm with that.
Yeah, man. But
Man,
that's dope, dude. If you go, man, that you need to get as much footage and definitely have to share it on the pod and make a little montage video of it, man.
I'll
I
make
think it's
sure that all of my videos are recorded with vertical recordings, just to piss people off.
you got to show that horizontal love, like you said before,
Oh,
man.
hey, I reached out to Hector and Eric, and I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, man, you guys got to tilt that camera, man. You got to go sideways with it. you know,
And I think just probably went out there with the game that they had and just said, "Fuck it, let's just use what we have and just roll with it."
Yeah. But it was so incredible. I am so thankful, grateful for Hector and Eric to have uh, just come out and been willing to share and be open about their experience on the podcast. That was probably one of the most exciting interviews, unexpected interviews that we've done since
Yeah,
starting this whole thing, and I really hope for more. I hope that we get to meet more people that challenge my worldview, my narrative, my, whatever I have going on, my thoughts, my, the way I see the world.
for sure.
Um,
I think what's next on down the road. Hopefully, we'll meet somebody that's into UFOs and we can go down that fucking rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? And
it
try to
sounds like
venture
we did. It
off.
sounds like Hector said he saw
Oh
UFOs
yeah, we
too.
did somewhat. We did get a taste of that. Yes, we did. He said he had his experience, and that was something I wasn't expecting. So, hey, man, all I'm saying is, it's just cool to keep an open mind. I mean, shit.
Absolutely. I think that's what I got the most out of it, is that in order to get through this journey, if it's not going to be as exciting without an open mind. And,
Exactly.
and that's where, you think about the scientists that have made the biggest discoveries in history, and the medical marvels and breakthroughs, and engineer marvels and breakthroughs. These were things done with an open mind. If you
Yep.
have an open mind, you'd be amazed at how much further you can go.
For
So,
sure.
yeah,
Definitely.
man, it was cool. It was cool.
Dude, what's up with their boy DMX though, man? I mean, I know we've talked a little bit about that before we started this session, bro, and
I heard
doesn't
he's
look too
breathing on his
good.
own now.
Oh, he's breathing on his own.
That's what I
Oh,
heard.
okay.
They
Oh
took him
shit.
off of life support, and
Oh
so
man.
apparently the story was that last night. So we are recording this on Saturday the 3rd,
Hmm.
and so on Friday, the day prior, at about 11 p.m., he suffered from a heart attack, and it was reported that there was a drug overdose. But that is so far, from what I've seen, an unsubstantiated claim. There's been no real proof. Nothing has been proven as far as drugs. Every article I've read, I haven't, I first saw it in TMZ, but then every article is just no one's been able to prove it so far that this was from drugs. It could very well be just
For
due
sure.
to
For sure.
his history with drugs, his battle. One thing I learned was that when he was 14, that's when he smoked crack for the first time. He had a mentor that was 30 years old at the time, slip him a blunt, and it was laced with crack.
Yeah, so we'll say he
And
got tricked into it, right? That's kind of the
yeah,
story how it
yep,
goes.
yep. And
It's
apparently that
fucked
was a
up.
very dark moment in his life, because
Yeah.
he said that that's sort of what was the beginning of a long, long road with his battle with addiction. So,
And
um,
I think that's really, man, and I can, I think I did see an interview where he got pretty emotional about it. And
Talib Kweli, he was on that with the People's Party podcast.
I believe so, man. It is fucked up though, man. You think it's like me and you, you're my boy. You do something like that to fuck me over. I mean, dude, I would hold a sentiment like, how could you do that to me? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
this was a situation where he was, the guy was 16 years older than him, so it
Yeah.
was his mentor. So it'd be like, your pops,
Your
someone
pops,
you
yeah.
looked up to as sort of like a
Uncle maybe or
pops or an
something.
uncle,
Yeah, yeah.
someone that you looked up to, and all of a sudden, that's what they introduce you to.
That's fucked up, man.
And I was a mentor. I was a big brother for the Big Brothers Big Sister program, so I know how these kids, they look up to you, man. They
For
do.
sure, for
And
sure.
but that did happen to me too. There was one time when I was a youth, we were all, smoking a bong, smoking weed,
That ganj.
and I just happened to see it where my boy slipped in a little bit of crystal something in the bong, and I looked at him, because I told him one rule is, it's, if I'm gonna put anything in my body, it's got to be natural. I'm
For
not messing
sure.
with this man-made, this chemical crap. I'm not messing with it. And so I saw a little something white crystal go in the bong, and he was joking with his friend, nodding at him like they were gonna get me, but I saw that, and I just looked at them both, and I just shook my head like, nope, I'm done tonight.
Yeah,
um
man.
and there was another time, that I smoked, we smoked a joint that was laced with PCP, and I hallucinated. Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, dude, I got some stories about that one. That one's a
Oh
wild trip.
shit.
That
Oh,
I
so
wasn't
you
ready.
actually did that.
I did do that. Yeah, that one we bought some bad weed.
Damn. It's
Yeah,
really
I went
bad.
5 on it, and got that in, and we were cruising Main Street. I was probably about 16, 17 at the time. And I knew instantly that this was a bad batch, right? And so we're in the car, there's about 4 or 5 of us in the car. We're on Main Street, and I said, "Hey guys, you probably already know this, but I think we got something." I said, "There's some sort of a hallucinogen in this weed. This has been laced with something."
Yeah.
And everybody sort of agreed. And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, now that we all know that we're all seeing things, can I tell you what I'm seeing?"
Oh
And
shit.
they're like, "Yeah, go ahead." And I said, "All right." I said, "See all those storefront windows that we're driving by? I see blue cows in every single one of them with
Oh man,
purple
you were
dots, with
definitely
purple
tripping on
spots."
that.
And I said, "And I see cop lights everywhere. All the lights are flashing. I see cop lights everywhere." Yeah, so that was the first and only time I've ever had laced weed. But I was not
Fuck.
much of a weed guy anyway. I'd always stunk. It always, I didn't like the high that I got. I didn't
Yeah.
like the headache. None of it. I didn't like it. But
I think the only time I recall, I never had anything laced personally, and
good.
during my younger days. But I do remember this one time where I had a really bad trip of having edibles at a concert at a festival. Actually, it was a while ago, but no, man, obviously they tell you to eat it in small portions, not to really kind of gobble down the whole thing. Well,
Mm.
me not knowing, because obviously nobody gives you a fucking instruction manual on how to take edibles or whatever, So one of my cousins gave me like a Rice Krispie, and he said, "Oh yeah, these are edibles, man. Just have some." He gave me like a nice little, like a little square, right? So I took like half of it, just fucking,
Okay.
dude. I kid you not. And this kind of made me steer away from even having anything edible related for like till now. I haven't had any of it. But I had the worst trip because I swear I could hear voices in my head.
Oh, really?
Dude, I shit you not, bro. It was the realest thing. I kept hearing shout out to my boy James. I haven't talked to him in a minute, but I kept hearing his voice I don't know why, but I kept hearing his voice in my head, like calling my name, like, hey Ed, hey Ed, hey Ed. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like looking around, dude. I was so paranoid, Brett. I kid you not. I was like looking everywhere, and even like some of my friends at the time were like, "Are you okay, man?" Like you're like looking like if you're seeing somebody, or you trying to look for somebody. I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm just
He tripping.
Dude. I was tripping, and to make it worse, I was pretty intoxicated that day.
Yeah.
So it made it worse, but it slowly wore off, and I know it really kicked in my system because like that night, that same day, it was at the gorge. So we got in, whatever, and I was drunk and I was pretty like, with that edible right in my system. I ended up passing out on the hill. I ended up passing out. I woke up at nighttime and that even tripped me out more. Like, what the fuck? What day is it?
Wow.
Dude, it was so wild. But that was one of the worst trips. Though. That's all I can say. So yeah, man, never again.
I've never tried acid. I've never tried. There was one time we were gonna try mushrooms, and that's the one that I've always wanted to try, just like on a very controlled basis. Just because I'm like, it would be really cool to go into some sort of spiritual journey on mushrooms. That would be a fun one. But I have tried one hard drug, but I don't want to say what it was.
It's not cocaine either.
Because I don't want people to know how dirty, how grimy I was on the come up. I hide a lot with this
innocent face. Yeah. I feel it, man.
You see me on TV. Yeah. So, but back to DMX though. I mean, yeah. So I've been looking at the headlines all day. I was thinking we're going to lose him, but they said that there was just the reports were saying that there was not a lot of brain activity. But he is breathing on his own, but I think we're gonna see a different Dark Man X when he comes out. I
hope so, bro. I hope this is
no. I mean, I think his brain
is gonna be.
I don't think he's gonna be the same DMX. I think.
Oh man, sad, bro. It's sad, man. And only they know like what it is really to struggle with this type of stuff, because it's been something that he's been dealing with for a while too, dude. Like it's been a crazy road for him, and I just hope for the best for him. So DMX, if you ever listen to this, we hope for a speedy recovery, and hopefully, our prayers are with you, man.
One thing that's been, I think he's always been an inspiration. I tell you, well, like with he really has a relationship. His faith is strong, and that seems to be what has sort of helped him, has been his source of strength and focus maybe. But there was one issue. I was having a sort of an argument with somebody, and we were talking about The Weeknd, and
the singer? The singer of The Weeknd, or
the singer of The Weeknd.
Oh, okay.
And apparently he got snubbed at the Grammys about he just like got missed out on like 9 different awards.
Okay.
One he was up for, he didn't get one single one.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. I go, well, the only time that happens is if you piss somebody off in the industry.
Yeah.
And so, and the only people that piss people off in the industry are Christians, or if they have some sort of a stance that is anti Hollywood, anti whatever, right? So I'm like, but I remember this person told me that, The Weeknd had satanic visuals at the Super Bowl. And I'm like, I'm going to challenge that one, because I said, you got to show me first. Because there's only one cat I know messing with Satan. and he can't sell his shoes right now.
We'll definitely talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Good thing. Good one right there. That should be a good intro for that.
So I'm doing all this. I'm looking up, The Weeknd. And so when he had, I don't know what album it was, but it was the one where Blinding Lights was on it. He had a few singles on it. And, Blinding Lights in particular, it was like his character in there was Michael Jackson meets the Joker.
Okay.
And I'm like, he's clearly showing you one perspective, what it looks like to be high as a kite, where everything is perfect. Oh my gosh, look at all the women, look at how much fun I'm having, look at this, this world is so much fun. But then it keeps flashing to him getting bloodied up and falling, and then looking in the mirror and just seeing the ugliness of and the reality of what it is to be strung out on drugs. And I'm like, this
Okay.
cat's giving a message. This cat's giving a message.
Yeah.
And then there was other videos where people kept getting confused about his bandages, right? So apparently in an article, he came out and he talked about the fact that in Hollywood, they're so infatuated with their beauty that they go to extreme lengths to do that, with the plastic surgery. And he knows that all these millions of people are watching them, and they're watching them change their looks and modify their looks. And so these people who are influenced are doing the same thing. They're wrestling with anorexia, they're wrestling with all these real issues. So he was just trying to show basically how obnoxious it was to have that type of thing. Just be real, be who you are. And what I love about his story is he's from, I believe he's from Syria. He's either from Syria or Ethiopia, but he went to, I think it's from Syria. Yeah. And he's a Syrian refugee, went to Canada, but then just started struggling with drugs, but ended up finding his way out and whatever. But anyway, he had a real positive message. And so when I looked up his faith, they said that it was I guess it was Ethiopian. Maybe he's from Ethiopia. I'm sorry about the facts if I'm messing those up, but the overall picture is what matters. So I think the Ethiopian Orthodox, it was Christianity was basically his religion.
Okay.
And so then, like, when I looked at the videos with the bandage, the message he's trying to give, the videos also where it's basically showing what the perception of what being a drug addict is versus the reality of it. He's putting that out and really showing people the truth for what it is. I'm like, this is a very anti-Hollywood message, because everyone in Hollywood, they're just strung out on drugs. They're Lindsay Lohaning all the way through and YOLOing and, whatever. And it's just like, that's supposed to be the way, that's just how it is. So if you're going to come out and speak against it, we're going to cut off every single shot that you have at getting a Grammy or any type of accolade to show your work. So no, you get nothing. So I think that Hollywood has kind of shut him out. That's what I see. I mean, he keeps getting he was performed at the Super Bowl, did a really cool. I loved it. I thought he did great.
It was a hit wonder in the memes where he's like figured out his way through the fucking maze, whatever.
But I mean, I look at the people who are dealing with drugs. We have so many people who are struggling with drugs, and there's no one really out there that is a good influence, right? And I saw The Weeknd as maybe a glimmer of hope for a lot of people. Like, hey, just stick with it. This is the reality of it. It sucks. It's empty. It's hollow. It's fake. It sucks. It's dark. And yeah.
No, I mean, I don't want to cut you off, but honestly, it's interesting, man, the way you're putting it into that perspective. Like I'm a fan of his music, good singer, he's a talented artist, but the more like when you put it in that like light where he does have a message out there like that, I think that's dope. I mean, I don't know why we would snub somebody like that. And
here's what happened. Here's the person I was arguing with is very pro-church, pro-Christian.
Okay.
And this has been my struggle with the church, is because I came from a background of poverty and abuse. And I came up fighting. I came up with drugs. I came up, my friends were drug dealers, right? So if you have that sort of dark background, all these people in the church are a lot of goody two shoes, right? They've never, they might have gotten in trouble for eating dad's cereal when it was really not supposed to be for them to have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these kids are growing up not knowing what real sin is, yet they're reading the Bible and hearing stories about Paul, who used to be Saul and used to persecute Christians, used to kill Christians, right? And then ended up changing his life and saying, hey, you know what, I'm actually going to fight for the cause. Well, when those people in real life come to church, right, people such as myself who came from a very dark background, very, very hard upbringing, and you want to do a society, right, you've discovered what the truth is and all this stuff, and you want to contribute, but then the church looks at you like, no, you're of no use. You're too dark for us. You've been through too much shit. We can't have you. Then it's like, okay, because and you look at, the church membership is going down in this country, and the way that you see on social media the people from the church coming down on people with drug addiction, on immigration, people want to come in on immigration, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have laws, but to hate on someone just because they want a better life and their life sucks because their government sucks. I have a real problem with people who say that they are Christians who don't come even close to acting like it. And
Okay,
I
I see what you're
think that
saying.
it takes some real struggle for people to really know what it is to really just want to change your life, to be a better person. And I think that's what we've got messed up in our country, is we have a lot of people that just are way too judgmental and not
Yep.
open-minded. So when I see stuff like The Weeknd, that's what I had to tell this person. I said, hey, he is telling a beautiful story. He's been through some shit. Maybe it takes someone who's been through some shit himself
To
to
know, how it
identify
is.
through the art, to be able to recognize the symbology through the art. But he's telling a beautiful story, and he's a glimmer of hope for people. He's not a Satanist. So
Yeah.
the real Satanist is Lil Nas X. Let's talk about it.
Oh man, yeah. So that was a good segue. But amongst that, just to end off on that note, but yeah, it's true, dude. I mean, it's like you're saying, maybe it takes people that actually have been in those similar situations as The Weeknd, or just anybody dealing with any type of struggle to really say they can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for a person that's never been through that struggle, or has never even been around that type of situation, like, they're never going to relate to it. So I feel like they're never going to understand. So
And it's
I,
okay to not
yeah,
relate,
for
but
sure,
don't
for sure.
judge people for that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, for sure. No, I agree, man. But yeah, our homeboy Little Nas X is in some deep waters with Nike, and that lawsuit, I'll tell you what, it's gonna be bad. And he's gonna, the thing that I don't get, he's talking about how, like Nike isn't letting, like, people be their creative, letting their creative mind speak or whatever. It's like, boy, you're dealing with somebody, or you're dealing with something that even me, like, on just on a personal level, anything to do with the devil, I'm not gonna mess with. So I don't know why you would think that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's my personal belief, but overall, I mean, it's not your shoe to begin with. You're using a shoe that's already trademarked
That's the
by Nike.
thing.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how you're trying to make it seem like it's okay. I don't know. That's just my thing. That's my opinion. But I don't know, man. But the thing with that is, I think this is what he wants, though, and I look at
Mhm.
it from where he's trying to build up, the conversation. He released a single. He's probably gonna have a new album out. It's the same shit we see every other time, just kind of like reminiscent to with
Absolutely.
Kanye, right? He does his, he says all this stuff, and then he's releasing a shoe the next week, releasing an album next month or whatever. So
Right.
it kind of goes hand
And
in
you look
hand
at,
with that. So
I mean, let's go back and take it to the Satanist thing, right? Who cares? Like, okay, if he wants to put out his Satan shoes, let him. I think, I say let him, because he, he where this is where artists, Eminem did the same stuff, Marilyn Manson did the same stuff, they said the same stuff, as they will tell parents, well, you're the one raising your kid, why don't you raise him? But they know damn well. So they're saying it's sort of double speak, right? Because these artists know how influential they are, because they see their record sales. They
Yep.
know they're influential,
Yeah.
but they use that type of a comment to sort of relieve themselves of any type of liability, for if in case there really was something that happened, like in Tupac's early music, they blame Tupac a lot for some of these cops getting shot, right? And they're like, he was listening to Tupac when he got shot, right? And so but if you are being real and you're being honest, if we can be honest, is that you listen to that music, and sometimes when you hear music, when you hear a message or something in music, you're like, oh, I like that. I normally wouldn't have done it, but I'm going to do it now. Right. Like, we listen to a lot of hip hop, and I'm, there, we ended up carrying guns on us when we normally wouldn't have carried guns on us, because we kept hearing it in the music, and
Mhm.
we were young and impressionable. And no matter what our parents would have told us and told us they loved us, told us da 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 da, the artist can say whatever they want. They know that they're being influential. Same with movies in Hollywood, right? If you're going to put certain things out there, it's going to, it's going to be received and possibly be mimicked by the public, right?
Yeah.
But that's not to say that an artist can't do something, right? So I think if Lil Nas X, right, we've survived Ozzy Osbourne, we've
Mhm.
survived Marilyn Manson, and there was all these things where society got so scared, but we've survived it every time. We will survive a Lil Nas X devil shoe, right? If
Exactly.
somebody
Yeah.
wants to put in 60 cc's of a human blood in the shoe, and it creates excitement and it creates this, so be it. Let it happen. Let that, uh, really, just, I think people need to see it for what it is, and that it's a money grab. Lil
Yeah.
Nas X, he's got that, and maybe he does some things. Maybe there is more to it than just money. Maybe he does want to, has a bigger message that he wants to. Well, then listen to it. That's what the public square is all about. That's why
Yeah.
we have social media. So let's talk about these ideas. If what you say is fresh and we're with it, then we're riding with you. If what you say is lame and we can't get behind it, next. So
Yeah.
I think that people make too much out of stuff like this. I think that Nike was right to sue Mischief, and I think they're just suing Mischief. I don't think they're suing Lil Nas X. So I don't see what Lil Nas X is mad about.
Yeah, I think overall it's just controversy. Get the name out there, and have the word revolving around him. Again, it's simple. If you like the shoes, buy
He
the
seems
shoes.
like a
Don't like them,
very
don't buy them.
immature person. I mean, every time I hear him talking, he seems like very irrational. He does not seem like, he seems almost along the lines of like Kanye when he's going through his little outbursts. I'm
Yeah.
like, come on, man, you know better. So I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just, there's something about having a lot of money that where you're just like, listen, I have so much money, it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. You're gonna hear me. You're gonna listen to me, regardless.
Yeah. He's a young cat too, anyway. So I mean, hey, he's just gonna do what he does, dude. So it is what it is.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, but that's yeah. I don't know, man. What is this? Only 666 pair of shoes made. Human blood in them. I'm
Dude.
good. You can have
Hey,
it.
I'm
I'm
not
good.
gonna lie. So they said that they were sold out in a minute.
That's wild.
That's wild,
That's all
right?
the sneakerheads. I feel like that's just all sneakerheads, just for the resale value to say that you have it.
That's what I was.
You know,
Dude.
that's honestly believe that's just what it's going to come down to, or what it just came down to.
And I
Sneakerheads,
bet they
So
knew. They personally knew every single person who was gonna have it.
yeah,
You
I
know.
think so. I mean,
So
that's my theory, but hey, man, what do I know?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just the guy with the podcast.
Just a couple of losers. I still live at home with my mom.
I'm in my basement,
Yeah.
low key, Yeah, no, but dude, so I'll bring this up just for a topic of discussion. So, as you know, I had to get tested for the Rona,
The Rona.
and
What caused the
luckily,
test?
what was that?
What caused the test?
So again, I just wasn't feeling good. So filmed this on Saturday, a couple days ago. It was Thursday after work, man. I just, I started just feeling like, a headache, and I was super sore, like my whole body all of a sudden just like I felt like I went through a freaking rough workout, and I just started getting like, feeling kind of like coldish a little bit, like, and I knew it was like warm in my apartment. And I'm like, I was thinking to myself, like, what if I have COVID? Like out of nowhere, I'm like, nah, I don't think it is. But I woke up Friday morning, I just wasn't feeling too hot, man. Like it's just like fucking sore, like headache, and I'm like kind of trying to pay attention to like the common symptoms that they have, like loss of taste, and all that. And I'm like, man. And so, I took precautions. I tried to make an appointment that day. They were all booked up. So I had to go to actually a drive-through by where I live here at Walgreens. And I was kind of just, I was like, man, I just hope I don't fucking have it because I have a family. I really don't want to pass this on to anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, fuck, I really hope I don't test positive. And, sure enough, I took my test early in the morning, this morning on Saturday. And luckily enough, I got a result like back in like almost hour and a half, 2 hours that I was negative. So your boy is Rona free. Not today, Rona. So you ain't getting a piece of me. Hopefully not yet or anytime soon. But I mean, I'll
Man,
tell you what, I was kind of a little worried. I'm not gonna lie, but hopefully, I mean, I'm good. I'm just feeling a little fucking. I have like I'm like a little light cold. I just don't really feel that all that fucking great.
that's
I've been kind of like quarantining in my office here,
wow.
just chilling in here.
Just in case, right?
Just in
Do you
case. Yeah, man.
if you would have had it, is there any idea where you would have thought that you could have got it?
Yes, I do, and I'll say this. So as you can tell, I've been going to the gym. I've been trying to hit the gym. I've been going and working out, and I that's the only place that I've changed my like how
Mm,
you're doing things like on an everyday
your
basis to where you just
routine.
go to work. Yes, that's the only thing I can say I changed. I went there and I come home. So I come home from work, change, go there and come back and then just, do it all over again throughout the week. I feel
Gotcha.
like I somehow maybe have gotten it from over there, because they say like the gym's the worst place to be, the most germs and all that shit. So I could probably, if it was positive, I could probably got it from there. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. So, but it's not,
nope,
and
I'm good. I'm
so
good.
that's good, and I do know that. So in Washington, we're in stage. Well, we're in multiple stages depending on the county, right?
3, right?
So in Snohomish County, we are recording in Snohomish County, but Pierce County, there's talk about scaling them back to stage two, phase two.
Why?
Well, apparently there have been 100 people in our state that have gotten the COVID shot,
Okay.
the what do you call it, the vaccine,
Okay.
and they've tested positive. So they've contracted the coronavirus even after they got the vaccine. So people are like, what is going on? Now I don't know
Ugh.
if this was all in Pierce County, but I know in Washington State there's 100 people that have gotten sick ever and with the coronavirus since getting the vaccination. They're like, this isn't supposed to happen. Then you got cats like me who won't get the vaccine, rebel on every level, and then it just like it's like the Matrix where where I'm dodging all the things,
The
everybody's
bullets
getting
just
sick,
bending.
and I'm just like sitting there, just like, what's up, son? Let's party. Hey, your restaurant's at 50% capacity. I'm in.
Man, I'll be the
I'm in.
51%.
Yeah, man.
That's wild.
Um,
So, damn. So now, how can we say that the vaccine's gonna be prevention from you fucking getting it when you have 100 people?
you obviously can't.
Oh
People
god,
aren't
dude.
listening to the science the way people don't have open mind in the CDC, right? I mean, literally, we're on the same. If you if you zoom out, right, we're looking at everything from a day to day. If you zoom out and you look at how we dealt with the pandemic, the Spanish flu, in 1918 to 1921, we're basically facing the same thing. The only difference is we had a world war going on back then, and we at that time we had a president who didn't care about the pandemic and kept putting soldiers in the trenches, and like doctors were coming to the president and saying, hey, um all these people are sick and they're in the trenches, and anytime we send more people in, they're getting sick too and they're dying. And they're like, no, 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 it was a president that was denying science, right? Like, no, no, no,
Oh
no, we're not
man.
going to do that. Give him some bleach. No, I'm just kidding.
Just
I'm
shower
just
them in
kidding.
bleach.
No, I'm not.
Oh my
But
god.
anyway, and so finally, we were on the verge of losing, and they finally said, okay, let's start separating everybody. Let's start using proper protocols and this and that. So, but it was still around for what, 1918 to 21, so 3 years. So and here we are. We're a year into this now. A year. It'll be. I mean, shoot, it's been just over a year.
A
We
year, yeah,
still,
literally.
and it'll be a year and a half by the summer. So we're still kicking it. We're still kicking it.
Listen, man, I just hope this is a
And
lesson
that's
learned,
with a
man.
vaccine.
Yeah, I really hope we're taking notes and just making sure, like, because as always, there's always going to be new viruses coming up, mutations, all that. Like, this should be kind of a fucking eye-opening like experience for the whole world to
I don't see that. I hear what you're saying.
yeah,
And it would be really cool if people had open minds. It would be cool to say, okay, hey, you know what? The kids aren't as impacted by this. Maybe we shouldn't um, put so many of them into these traumatic situations where they're getting abused at home. And I mean, you've heard the horrific stories where all these children are just getting hurt. And so maybe we don't keep the kids at home. Maybe we let them start coming to school. Maybe that's the only place where they can get some lunch anyway.
yeah,
We don't disrupt that. And maybe we just take the people that are most vulnerable and we separate them from everybody. We'll say,
yeah.
hey, this is where we're going to take the strictest precautions. If we want to do a lockdown, we're doing a lockdown with the people that are most exposed, most vulnerable. Now, if you are someone who feels like, oh, I don't want to be in with all these, then you have the choice to take a step back, but you're not going to get paid. If you want to find other work you can do while you're not doing the work that you're supposed to do, so be it. But I think that we have too many people that are fighting with each other. And I really do. I mean, I tell people all the time, we are ending like this whole American democracy, this experiment of democracy. It's ending. It's almost over. This new America that we're going to see in our generation, in our lifetime, it's going to be a completely different country. And it's just because we have too many people who hate each other in the same country, and there's no way that you can get anything good from it other than just to separate it. So I think that eventually we are going to separate, and we will have to figure out the land and how we're going to separate the land and whatever. But the country as it is, I don't think it's going to stay. There's just too many differences in ideological beliefs, in religions, in even racial stuff. I think that you have all these racial issues that keep coming up year after year after year, and you're asking yourself, why can't this work? Why can't there's a lot of people that it does work for, but for some reason there's just groups that won't allow other people that are different to be involved. And I have no idea what that is. And I think that you would see that in China. If all of a sudden the world started migrating to China, McDonald's had a report where they wouldn't, one McDonald's had put a sign on their door that said no blacks allowed.
Really?
Oh yeah. In China, and McDonald's had to close that store because it went on social media and got spread on social media. And so there's a lot of racism. If you look at Asian countries, a lot of Asian countries are racist toward black people.
Wow.
And a lot more racist than America. So
damn,
take it for
China.
what it is.
All
but
right.
it's not just white Americans that are the only ones that have been racist in the past. I mean, there's today, you could go to Iran, you go to the Middle East, you're going to see racism if you're not Middle Eastern. So,
that's crazy. That's fucking. I didn't know about that McDonald's, but it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that? You saw that, like, no brown people allowed. All right, I'm out. Bye.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? Here you are. You're on vacation. You're like, yeah, I'm balling in Hong Kong, or not Hong Kong. It wouldn't have been Hong Kong. Hong Kong's pretty open minded.
Yeah.
Hong Kong's the good guys, but mainland China is where it was. Yeah, man,
Crazy.
balling in Shanghai, and then all of a sudden they're like, "No, you're not allowed here."
All right, deuce. That's it. Bye.
Peace.
I just wanted what is it? I just wanted a number one.
I just wanted a Whopper. Yeah, I just wanted a Big Mac.
Dude, but speaking of that, no, it's crazy that shifting into just what's going on here with all the Asian shit, that like the Asian hatred that's like going on with people getting like just beat up on site. It's crazy that, like, why? Sorry, my light went out.
Oh, your light. Pay the electric bill. You.
Oh, dude, I know, right? Shit. Fuck. Fuck it. Let's just roll with it. I'll be kind of like the low key guy in the back.
Yeah.
Fuck it. No,
get a flashlight.
Like underneath my chin.
Yeah. It was a dark and stormy night.
No, but it's so I mean, dude, this whole fucking bullshit that's going on with like what is the one of the Asian ladies that got beat up? I think it was in San Francisco, right? Is it San Fran?
Could be. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to
Dude,
the Asian hate.
oh man, it's kind of fucking it's just fucked up, dude. I just hate seeing shit like that just because like
What is
they're
it? Oh, go ahead.
they're elderly people, like you're there was actually this one case, I think it was in New York, guy stomped out this Asian lady. They come to find out he actually was arrested, sent to prison, got re-released for murdering his mother.
Oh wow.
I'm like, fuck. And
So
now you're
is
going back
there
to
is
jail,
there any
homie.
type of like predominant race beating up the Asians, or is this
I really can't say like if it's one specific like race doing it to them. I really can't say that. I mean, but I
it's just
just
all races convening?
I guess. I mean, I just seen a couple of videos. The gentleman that I was talking about from New York was African American. That one from San Francisco, I think it was a Caucasian male. But it's actually more of a trend. Supposedly, from what I was reading in an article, there's like a trend, like how there's these stupid little trends that go on. Like remember when they were licking the ice cream at superstores? Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Okay, so this is what so my wife, she's Asian,
Mm-hmm.
and she posted a post, stop Asian, picture
Mm-hmm.
of who's that MMA fighter for the Filipinos. Uh
MMA
guy.
fight from
He was
Filipinos.
fighting Mayweather with a broken shoulder, and they were
Oh, the boxer Manny Pacquiao.
Pacquiao, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Manny,
yeah.
yeah. So and so it's a picture of Manny Pacquiao saying, if you want to hate Asians, fight me,
Yeah.
and so my comment was, hey, if you want to stop the hate, right? It's easy. Sign up for the NRA, get a firearm, train with your firearm, and practice with your practice train
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Get a concealed weapons permit and step back and watch how quickly the hate stops.
Straight up. Straight
people
up.
don't people only pick on vulnerable victims, and if all of a sudden in the Asian communities you're hearing of Asians that are defending themselves and they're having to put two in the chest, pop pop, right?
Hey, that'll stop it real
Pop
quick.
pop, and watch the Asian hate stop.
Was that off the dome? Was that off the dome right there?
Always off the dome.
No, that's
Yeah.
true though. That's true. No, you're right. Exercise your second Amendment right.
And people, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, people don't like that idea. People hate, oh, if we, but hey, we got to think
No,
about
it's
reality. Do
straight
you
up.
want to be
Straight
someone
up.
who's gonna get killed because you're defenseless and you're an easy target, or do you want to at least have that chance for survival to defend yourself? Even just pulling it out is enough.
Yeah.
No one's gonna stand around and just like,
Just cock that thing
oh,
one
I might
time.
be out
Cock
of
that
here.
thing one time. And like, all right, you want to fuck around? Come.
Not
Go
even
do it
once.
again.
Sometimes all it takes is just pulling it out, having your finger on the trigger, ready to go, and hey, stay.
I think the flashiest thing for me was
talk.
just. I think the flashiest thing for me is just pop it out, cock it one time. All right, do it again. Do it
Yeah,
again.
well, what if what if you ride with it and it's already, cocked and locked and ready to go, right? I mean,
True.
you
You gotta be ready, right?
can't
That's
rack
true.
and slide if there's already one in the chamber.
I don't know. I just want to do it for showing causes. That's
Oh
it.
yeah, no. I mean, you lose 3 seconds right on that. You don't want to be in a situation like that. Oh, look at me. You're having issues and I'm having issues too.
Oh, dude, are you the Matrix has you, dude? You're fucking blending in.
I'm fading. I'm fading.
No, but you're right, man. You're right. I actually that one incident that happened in San Fran, the lady actually pulled out like this, like it was some type of bar, started beating the other guy with it. He got pretty fucked up. So there you go. That's an example. Like, had that been like a gun, shit would have went down the same. I'll tell you that. But she had something. She started fucking hitting him back. But she got punched in the face a couple times. Poor lady. Hopefully for a speedy recovery on your end too. But it's she protected herself. She said, "Nah, not today. I'm not gonna fucking just go out without a fucking fight." And she put up a fight. So
not today.
Yeah, it's crazy out there, man. Regardless, dude. I mean, just for the Asian community, just like my boy said, just have something on you. Don't let them catch you slipping like that. Fuck that. Especially if they're coming out just to do it for the fuck of it. It's just bullshit to me. I mean, I don't see the point in that. Like, especially somebody of an older age, you're a pussy if you're doing that. And that's coming from me to you. So sorry. I mean,
No, I'm with it,
I can say
man.
that on our podcast, right? I can say the P word. I can, right?
Say what?
I can say the P word, right? It's our podcast, right? Fuck it.
I say whatever I want all the time, and no police have ever knocked at my door.
No, but yeah, it's some fuck shit, man. But yeah, I mean, I just hope.
Sad about my shirt, my I
Oh,
forgot that I
dude,
was
I know you're
wearing the
blending in,
invisibility cloak.
dude. Are you using this? You're using the green screen too, right?
I'm using the green screen,
Okay.
but I don't know what I don't know what happened. I mean, everything was working good, but usually if you wear a shirt that's kind of close to green, it must. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening right now. I'm freaking out.
Like I say, it's the Matrix, dude. It's becoming a reality now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, I have a crazy story that I wanted to share with
All
you.
right, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
This is like a crazy story, and you're gonna laugh because you know the inside story
Okay,
on
okay,
this.
okay,
So I'm in the crypto
okay.
world, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and I'm learning a whole lot. And you were talking about NFTs the other day. I thought,
Yep.
wow, that's pretty cool. That's the one area where I'm not really focusing a lot of my education on, or a lot of my research. I'm focused more on the coins themselves and the different projects that each coin is doing, whatever. But but anyway, and so I had made some videos on my YouTube channel. I kind of quit before when my daughter got here, so
Mm-hmm.
I need to get back in the game, in the mix. But I mean, it's just been busy. Life has just thrown some curveballs that I wasn't ready for
For sure.
lately, and it's just been it's going to be pretty dicey here in the next few months. I don't know what's going to happen, but anyway, so so all of a sudden I'm making the video, and someone's commenting on it, and all of a sudden I get a text on my Telegram from my half brother.
Okay.
And now this half brother is a kid who was adopted, put up for adoption. My mom was in a relationship when I was 10 years old. Or when I was 9, I guess. And she got pregnant, couldn't keep the child, and wanted to give it to a home. Right. And so we went through this adoption process. I got to meet the parents. They were from North Carolina, whole 9 yard. Right. And it was a crazy situation because, of course I had to stay with my mom, and I can't tell you how many times I prayed for them to take me to, I wanted out. I didn't want to stay with my mom. So I was so jealous that he got to go and that I had to stay. But anyway, and so we sort of got back in touch, and we've tried a few times, right? But he couldn't figure out why I had nothing good to say about my family.
Okay.
I've basically cut ties. And so for him, it just wasn't, because here he all of a sudden he turned 18 and he was on this journey that he's like, I want to meet my family. Well, then all of a sudden he meets me, and I have nothing good to say about the family because, I want to leave. I want to get away from him.
Mm-hmm.
He sort of had, I guess, was left maybe with some bad feelings.
Yeah.
So we were, he was on his journey, and he just couldn't understand where I was coming from and whatever. So we just sort of quit talking. Well, then a few years later, he reaches out again, and I'm kind of like, well, if you want to come over, that's fine. Again, I get he's on his journey, so I'm kind of letting him do his thing.
Yeah.
So then he comes and stays at the house, and then all of a sudden one day he leaves, right? And he like doesn't say goodbye, and we're kind of getting, like I'm coming home and I'm smelling weed, and I'm like, I don't want a bunch of weed going on. I've got a baby and, all that stuff. And,
For sure. For sure.
and so I was going to talk to him anyway, but by the time we were going to have a talk with him, he was gone, just vanished. There was no whatever. So then right about maybe a week after that, a week after he was gone, or maybe even longer, maybe it was 2 weeks. But basically he got his trip here. He got to meet all of his family that he wanted to meet, my mom, and he hasn't got to meet the youngest. Well, he's the youngest, I guess, officially, but the youngest that grew up with us. He hasn't got to meet him, but he's not missing much. But he got to meet the brother that went to prison, got to meet my mom, and then my mom's husband, got to meet him, and then he got to meet his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so so he got to do all that. Um, anyway, so then all of a sudden he gets back. Well, he's back in North Carolina, and all of a sudden I get hacked. My debit card gets hacked.
This was
Right?
recently?
Like years ago, like 2 weeks
Okay,
after he
okay.
visited, and he's from North Carolina. And all of a
Okay.
sudden I'm looking at this hack, and it's from the city in North Carolina where he's from. And I get so I called my bank right away, like, hey, what's going on here? This is, not supposed to happen. And so they fixed it, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but him and I never talked about it, but I've always had that in my head. Like, did he hack me? And so all of a sudden we're talking again, we're talking again recently. And so finally I'm just like, it's starting to get to the point where we're starting to build a little bit of more of a relationship, more than just crypto, because we're just sort of just trading notes on crypto.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that. Well, then, the conversation has went a little bit deeper. So then I'm like, well, if it goes deeper, I need to bring this up. So one day I just shot straight. I'm like, hey, bro, I go, a few years ago, when you came over to visit, I said, did you hack my debit card?
Yeah.
And imagine how awkward that must have been, right?
Just crickets.
And he's just like, WTF? Like, what are you talking about? No, I didn't hack you. And I mean, he was like really on the defense. And so I'm like, okay. I go, I'm not pushing it any further. Whatever it is, what it is. You say you didn't, I'll take you at your word.
Yeah.
And because I mean, I'm street savvy. I know I'm street smart. I know that if that, like, let's just say he was lying, right? He'll never do it again, right? I'm too smart. I'm too wise for all that. It's not going to happen, so even if he says he did and he or didn't and he really did, it's never going to happen again, right? Because once you're caught, and they're onto you, okay, hey, there was only a one-shot deal, right? But I'm not saying that he did. I'm just saying that he didn't, and I called it cool. So then I'm like, okay, that's cool, because now basically what that does is it really allows us to have a more of a relationship than we've ever had. And and I think now he's starting to see that, when it comes to my family here, he's starting to finally see that it adds up, adds up as to why I don't talk to any of them. And so finally I was able to share just a few stories of my upbringing. Like, hey, just so you know, I'll share a couple of funny, but you have to make them funny, right? If you're getting your ass beat as a kid, you still got to make the story funny. So I still made him funny, but but anyway, so we talked about all that, and it was just it was a crazy, sort of thing to talk about. And yeah, so anyway, yeah, the world of crypto has brought this family together, brought a thing, and I didn't expect it. There's no way I would have ever expected to talk to any of my blood family. I basically wrote them all off.
Interesting. So just in a way, it was like the stepping stone to get you guys talking again in a sense, right?
Yeah, but I did make it very clear. I made it very clear. I said, listen, don't ever, ever, ever think you're going to play this role where you're going to connect, me with the family, or you're going to be this like bridge between us.
Yeah.
Because I hate them. I'll never be at any of their funerals, and they won't be at mine. Like, I really, really hate them. I hate them. So I just want it very clear. I want nothing to do with them. Don't play that. And he said he wouldn't. He said, nope, I'm not going to do it. So I said, okay, then we're good. We're good. So it's just sort of, it's weird though. Like I said, it's a weird thing, and I don't mean to be, one of those people that carries hate in my heart, but I do. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to deny it.
For sure. You're straight up with it. You're straight up.
There are people that I hate.
Fair enough.
The flame will never die until I die.
Yeah.
So,
hey man, that's awesome though. Hey, crypto and family right there. They're your brother, you know what I'm saying? The Crypto
Yeah.
Brothers, the crypto or the I call you the Cardano Cowboy. That should be your
The
nickname.
Cardano Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, well,
Fuck
it's
yeah.
funny because I'm getting him in. And there's a lot of people I've had to sort of convince into Cardano,
Hmm.
and I've gotten more people in. Like next week, this coming week, I had someone call me and they said that they bought their little cold storage wallet, their little ledger. They're getting invested and they want to stake their money. I said, hey, I will walk you through every step. So I'm gonna get someone started on making some money through staking and then I'm going to talk about some investments. Ada is one of those companies that it's a long-term investment. It's about 5 to 10 years at least before you start to see what they're really all about. So if you want that quick money, I wouldn't go into Ada. But if you want to plant some seeds and watch your farm grow, I would go with Ada. But for new noobs, I would definitely go for Bitcoin and for Ethereum. Yeah, I would say you can't go wrong with them, but for the next 5 years at least, I think those are going to be really, really good years for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum is coming out with Ethereum 2, where they're reducing their gas fees. And so I think that's going to be a lot of fun for people. They're going to make things quicker. So there's going to be a lot of people building on the Ethereum platform, but that's where Cardano in the next 5 years is going to come out. And basically, if they can keep their gas fees lower, their transactional fees lower, and they can make everything quicker, and they can outperform Ethereum, then Cardano is going to be the winner. But if Ethereum 2.0 promises to be a better platform, Cardano's got an uphill battle. So that's
Okay.
the thing, that the question that a lot of people are facing. But there's millions of other, or not millions, but there's thousands of others. Like I'm in one called the Basic Attention Token. I mean, my portfolio is pretty diverse, but the Basic Attention Token is through the Brave browser, and I look at things that are focusing on artists and focusing on decentralized finance. So I'm looking at content creators, artists, decentralized finance, and that those are all the areas where and then Cardano is really the only one that I focus on, where it's the platform itself.
Mhm.
They're getting ready to they're in Africa right now, in Ethiopia, working with leaders of that country, to where they're signing things to where basically they're opening up basically opening up commerce with Africa. So saying, basically the way it was described was, look at everything that Silicon Valley is doing, all of the businesses, all of the tech fields. Imagine if we could teach and train everybody in Ethiopia to do the same exact thing, same exact level of quality at a fraction of the cost, right? You're opening up world commerce with a continent, with countries that have never been open for working together before,
Yeah.
right? And so we're spreading out. We're telling basically big tech, we don't necessarily need you to be in San Francisco. We can do it in another country, on another continent, and do the same exact thing we are doing today. I just saw this other thing in Bloomberg News where they were talking about merging tech with forklift drivers, right? So what they had is like a computer screen with a little remote control, and
Mhm.
there was like 5 different views that the forklift driver could operate with.
Mm.
So this person was sitting at their desk at home, and they were operating a forklift millions of miles away, thousands of miles away. And so then they were saying what that can do is open up more people that have more, like, say you have a disability, right? But your
Yep.
hands work just fine, your eyes,
Mhm.
your brain, everything works just fine. You just have a bum leg that you can't go to work with, can't run, get up and off
Or you're
out.
missing both legs.
Yep, yep. And so now you can be a forklift operator.
That's
So
dope.
the world of technology is opening up, and I think that we're going to look at money and at commerce in a whole different way. But I will say, for anybody who is interested in getting into crypto, it is an uphill battle. There's a lot of fights with the U.S. government. The U.S. government does not want anything to threaten the U.S. dollar, and I think other countries are in the same boat. So if you can sort of change almost the concept of money, then you can override the dollar anyway. Like, what does a dollar do for you if all it is money, when you can actually use this digital asset as the means to do what you need to do without actually having money?
Yeah.
So it's we are this is the future, and it's so cool to just be an early adopter in it. And it's scary, but at the same time, like, when you believe in it, I'm like, shit, I'm on the right road, man. I'm on the right road.
That's definitely, man. I definitely want to get invested in it as well once I get some stuff get out of the way, finance wise. And I'll definitely, I myself want to get into it as well. And I'll definitely, like I said, you're my walking Google, so I'll definitely have to chop it up with you, get the numbers right and all that. And
Well,
definitely,
the
what
cool
is it?
thing about being in it is I'm pretty honest about,
Mhm.
like, um, if I mess up, I'm going to tell people, hey, don't make the mistakes I made.
Mhm.
Right. And that's the coolest thing about being the first guy in there. That's just sort of how my life has always been like anyway. Like, I always want to be the first one in my group to do something.
Yeah,
Because, yeah, I may look stupid to people at times, like, oh, why would you do this? Why would you do that? Well, it's because now I know not to make that mistake. And now I'm telling you not to make that mistake, you
for
know
sure.
and
For
so
sure.
I have, but I think that you have the most to gain if you're the first one to take risks like that. And the way that crypto, like NFT, I wanted to work with the Bigfoot, with Hector and Eric, and I want to get them on in the NFT game, help them get set up, and have them make some money through this new blockchain technology. It's
Yeah.
just crazy. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
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 it's it's a industry for everyone.
it's getting out there more, man. I'm starting to see more and more of it. People adapting to it. Where, like I was telling you, Funko is going to get into that as well.
Yes, I
Funko.
saw that.
I mean, what we both, obviously we have a few of those, so it's like there's something going on. Then, if people
Yep.
are getting into it now, there's something of value coming out of this. So,
Yeah, if you're
man,
an artist, I'm sure you already know.
yeah,
You already know. But if you don't know, if you're an artist, go look up, go to Google how to, get in the NFT game and get your work out there.
yep,
Because we are living in an industry where um we are breaking down the hurdles of yesterday. and
yes,
and we are, like, I've heard people say that excuse me, NFTs are 10 times better than the actual physical thing. Now, I don't know if I would take an NFT, a non-fungible token, and over the Mona Lisa. I think I'd rather have the Mona Lisa. But I mean, okay, look at this weird concept. Like, okay, this is one thing about money that has thrown me off, or maybe it's about capitalism that throws me off. Is, you look at movies like Star Trek or Star Wars, right? Where they're all on their ship. If you're at Star Trek, we're on the USS Enterprise, and you have all these different species on the same ship. And so they all have to eat, but they're all going to have different diets. Maybe
mhm,
some of them are going to eat, like, maybe Worf is, he's a bigger dude, right? Maybe he's eating a little bit less or a lot more than Gordy or Geordi. Let's see, no, Data. I'm thinking of Data, yeah, who's a cyborg. He doesn't eat at all, right? So but a cyborg is also smart enough. He's half human, so he needs money anyway. I'm going off. and,
off the rails.
and but so how does this work? Does Worf have to pay more in food than Data has to? Or do we figure out a system that says, hey, even though Worf needs more food, I think we're going to make it more fair, because even though Data doesn't eat any food, or very little, we're going to make sure that Worf isn't paying too much in food. Or maybe that's the food is not the issue. Maybe Worf needs less electricity than Data does. Maybe Data needs to sit on the charger for a few hours and uses more. You know what I mean? But what I'm getting at is, with this is we are preparing for the future. We know that humans are not going to be on Earth forever. So in this process, what we're trying to figure out is the money. So we are evolving, like literally evolving before our eyes, where we've used gold and silver as money for the last 6,000 years. And now in our lifetime, we are seeing this new type of thinking take place where, wow, we have SpaceX that's sending stuff to Mars. We have NASA sending stuff to Mars. You know, what, how are we going to do this finance thing? We're not going to fight in space over money, but how do we figure this out? And so I think that this cryptocurrency is sort of, we're in the very beginning stages of how it's going to work out. Right. So maybe there's an account and we all have that account. Bobbly bop 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 bop. Welcome to the future, mother.
Hey, like to say, adapt or get left behind.
Adapt
right?
or die. Yeah.
Adapt or die. Oh, dude, that's a fucking sick ass slogan. You definitely need to make a shirt like that.
Oh, that
adapt or die, because there's always like that trap or die, like Young Jeezy and Gucci Mane. But this was gonna be like adapt or die. That's sick.
Adapt or die is a real slogan. That's
really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But I'll tell you the t-shirt idea that I had. So you have Marvel and DC. They're always beefing with each other, right?
Yeah.
You got your DC superheroes and your Marvel superheroes.
Yeah.
So how cool would it be to put like a Marvel character in a DC device? Meaning, like, what if, like, okay, Batman is what, DC, right?
Yes.
And Wolverine is Marvel.
Yep.
So what if you had a shirt where Wolverine was driving the Batmobile?
Oh, dude. Yeah. 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 Throw that fucking twist in there.
Right. I mean, just it has to be subtle to where only the OGs are going to recognize it, but the OGs are going to be pissed. You can do the same thing with Star Trek and Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Put like some sort of Star Wars character on the USS Enterprise.
Yeah. Or somebody on the Millennium Falcon or something like that.
Something crazy.
Yeah. That'd be wild. That'd be wild. That's a good idea. You heard it here first. So if we try to copyright that shit, we'll fucking sue.
Yeah, we'll sue you. Just like Lil Nas X. You know, don't take my Satanistic blood away from me.
Unless there's a price, and it's got to be a fat one because money talks. I'll say that.
Man, I just love how people get so caught up in, oh, he done sold his soul.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man, like I said, he's young, man. He's just trying to ruffle up the feathers, and like I said, in controversy, like what did it say? Good. What's that thing that Easy says? Bad publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, right,
okay,
right. Yeah, exactly.
And the wise words of easy motherfucking E. So yeah. Yeah, dude, we fucking went all over the board today, which is good. I love having these conversations because we just go everywhere with it, and it always makes just a good conversation, you know, amongst us two, and obviously it makes it more enjoyable for the listeners. But I mean, we definitely do it. It's good to always get back on the grind and, you know, come together and put out this type of stuff. And dude, we definitely needed to start. We have a few people lined up that we actually, you know, they want to get on the podcast. So
nice.
We definitely need to hash that out. We do have a location where we can do our in physical, you know, obviously sessions. Thanks to Milka, aka Trippy Barbar. Go check her out on Instagram. You know, for giving us a little studio spot over at her shop. So definitely thank you for her for that. Mm-hmm. But dude, I mean, I can just say, dude, we're on a good pace. This year so far has been, you know, obviously awesome to see just the growth within our following and just the listeners that have been out there, just, you know, listening to our stuff. So again, thank you for all that. And thank you for everybody that's on Instagram showing love. Appreciate that for sure. But I mean, Brett, do you want to call it good on this one, or?
Yep.
You tell me. Like, I'm the sailor, dude. You're the captain.
I'm good with all of it. I'm good.
Okay.
Nope. I said everything that I can possibly say.
Okay. All right. So peeps, definitely go check out our last episode that we did, which is called Squatchin', episode 55. It is on all major streaming platforms. It's also on our YouTube page. Go check it out. Very interesting. We also have some evidence that they actually provided us and gave us permission to use, which is on our Instagram page. Just go search us up at the Typical Podcast. Go check it out. There's a video of these pyramid like tree structures that we were talking about earlier on this episode, and they have a picture of a footprint, and they actually have a picture of what it could possibly be, some Bigfoot eyes. I don't know. You go check it out. You tell us what you think and comment on that. So yeah, you be the judge. So till then, this is the Typical Podcast. Thanks again for listening and watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Ow!